when you can come in, assess the work culture, and figure out how you can fit in while still being true to yourself, you become a master. Let me repeat that. Let me say it slow, actually. When you can come in, and I'm speaking specifically about work culture, when you can come into a workplace, assess the work culture, and figure out how you fit in while still being true to yourself, you have become a master at being adaptable, because workplace culture is one of the hardest places to adapt to, especially when the culture is not your culture.
Wow, Sinatra.
Another day, another dollar I'm saving just to be broke. They said college was serious, but my degree feel like a joke. 4 years or less, I'm saying I got it done. No plan, just to end up at my mom's after I told her I wasn't staying. Well, here we are. No question, I'm a star. Just got some light years to travel, but it's just so far. But I'ma make it though. Make sure you get your focus right. You coming too, it's about to be one hell of a ride. Yeah, this adults and stuff is crazy. They ain't warned us about this. I'm supposed to live my best life on an unpaid internship. I'm supposed to find my husband. Everybody running game. I guess the more things change, the more they stay the same. Went from worrying about on flow to running from Uncle Sam. Now I understand why student accounts never gave a damn. Saving accounts be slipping, trying to work out, but I'm tripping. I forgot health insurance. Oh, I'm my mom's until I'm 26. So I gotta pay these student loans. That's adults with the score doing the most. That's adulting. Moving out of mom's house. That's adulting, but it's all gonna work out. That's adulting. I need a legal side hustle. That's adulting, cause these bills got me in trouble. That's adulting. Journey's course is never planned. That's adulting. Just leave it in God's hands, cause that's adulting.
Hey friends, welcome to another episode of the School of Life Podcast. Y'all, I am loving where we are with the podcast, loving the feedback, loving how much love y'all show me. Like, can I just get some oohs and ahs for my listeners, because y'all really make this thing go. So before I hop in, just thank you for showing your love and showing your support. Because listen, this wouldn't exist without y'all. Like, y'all know that. Anyways, today I'm going to be honest. This is a mix of venting. This is a little bit of a big sister cuss out, but with love. And a little bit of just my observation of some things I've experienced in the professional world when it comes to the new kids on the block. So long story short, we all know that soft skills make the world go around. Like, period. If you've never had a professional job, you even use soft skills in whatever job you do. If you're a drug dealer, you use soft skills. If you're a doctor, you use soft skills. Look, whatever you're doing, you use soft skills. And most recently, I have noticed that the kids are not using their soft skills. And I said, you know what, Jay? Instead of bashing the kids, let's just remind everyone. Let's teach a few people who don't know what's really going on in the soft skill world, because y'all know that's why this podcast exists. I'm going to just say this because I don't want to get into a bashing fest. But from my work experience and really just my day-to-day life, I have noticed that one, people just aren't as nice as they used to be. But when it comes to professionalism, we are really lacking. Like, there is a big disconnect between, I know at least, my generation and the generation coming after me. And if we don't get a grip on it, the world is going to be doomed. Because like I said, no matter what you do, you use soft skills. And soft skills truly make our world go. So, look, sister friend Jaye gonna have to get it together. Anyways, before I get into my little rant, grab your note-taking tools, because School of Life is now in session. All right, here's the truth of the matter. Everybody is not getting a brand deal or going viral on TikTok. Someone has to work. I'm sorry. Somebody has to go into the office and sell us life insurance, write communications plans, be lawyers and protect your intellectual property. Like, everybody everybody can't be TikTok famous. I'm sorry. And I don't know where we started thinking that everyone could, because I always see people saying, oh, anybody could do, be an influencer, whoop-de-whoop. That's not the case. And everybody shouldn't. And because of that, some of us have to, eat a piece of humble pie and remember those soft skills that I was talking about. I personally feel like because there's this culture of I'm just going to have my own business, go viral on TikTok, get brand sponsorships, I don't need to have any work culture etiquette, like that whole mindset, we're literally losing recipes. Like they're going out of the window. I'm here to say the soft skills will forever be in style no matter what you're doing. And I think that's what people fail to realize. Like even if you are an influencer or, you want to have your own business and you don't want to work for the man, as people say, you have to have some soft skills. You may be wondering, okay, Jay, you've been hollering about these soft skills. What are soft skills? Listen, I'm going to give y'all the J definition. Okay, that's how I do definitions around here. But your soft skills are your manners, your etiquette, how you show up in a place. They're skills that I don't want to say they can't be taught, but they're natural. And I'm going to give some examples of my top 5 soft skills that I think everyone should possess. But I want to emphasize that your soft skills are different from your technical skills or your hard skills. Your hard skills are things that you learn in school. So like if you're an engineer and you learn CADing, for example, that would be a technical skill. I work in communications and I know how to manage social media. That's a technical skill. If you are a doctor and you transplant hearts, that's a hard skill. Yeah, because everybody's not going to know how to do that. But your soft skills, look at them as like a blueprint for working in general. That's what I'm going to say. They're your blueprint for working, because the truth of the matter is soft skills will take you further than a viral video ever will. And I have some proof of that. I'm going to share a little bit about my experience. But before I do that, let me tell y'all my top 5 soft skills that I think everyone needs to possess. And I can't say enough, no matter what you do, whether you cook, crack, or you cook lasagna. That was a bad example. You know what? I'm going to tell my editor to cut that out because what, Jay? Anyways, here are my top 5 soft skills. Number 1, communication. For legal reasons, I cannot give the exact example I'm thinking about that happened in my job, but communication is so important. Knowing how to communicate, y'all. When you are working, even if you're not working in a corporate environment, knowing proper email etiquette, verbal communication, public speaking, how to give a presentation, all of these things are important. And again, I know we're losing recipes, but I'm going to be your friend and we're going to get this together. If you're struggling in communicating, you have to practice. So if you're dating somebody, practice with them. If you're single, practice with your mom or your dad or your sister or your brother. Like, we have to practice. This sounds silly, but when it comes to email writing, you need to reread your emails. You need to make sure you're not using, colloquial terms. It's giving. Don't say that at work. Please don't say that. Make sure you're saying good morning, good afternoon, hi, so-and-so. Make sure you're asking proper questions and you're spelling things correctly. Like, I wish y'all could see some of the things I see. But it's just, now that's not giving. Poor communication in the workplace is not giving. So make sure your communication is up to par, because again, these soft skills, y'all, I'm telling you, they'll take you far. The second one, my favorite one, work ethic. Y'all, I can't say enough how many times people tell me, oh my gosh, your work ethic is so great, blah, 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 blah. And I don't say this to brag, because my work ethic truly comes from a place of lack and not having, as a kid. But in my adulthood, it has opened doors for me that I could not open myself. So that's your time management. That's your reliability. That's your motivation. That's how you show up. Are you asking the questions? Are you, volunteering to take on a little bit of extra work so you can learn? Are you asking to shadow somebody? Like, what does your work ethic look like? I'm going to be real. A lot of people's work ethic is looking really poor lately, at least from what I see. And if you think you can get by with that, nah, you in for a rude awakening. It's not going to happen. So how can you work on your work ethic? Honestly, that's a great question, and I struggled with trying to find an answer because my true belief is either you have it or you don't. And some people may disagree with that, but I will say you can do things like ask more questions, show up on time. My granny used to always say, even a dummy can be on time. I'm like, Grandma. Like, then I didn't understand why she said it that way, but now it makes sense. The least you can do is be on time. The least you can do is ask questions. That shows that motivation, that shows that desire to want to know more. So, number 2, work ethic. Number 3, now this one, I ain't gonna lie. This soft skill I struggle with just a little bit because, y'all gonna see why. Teamwork. I'ma just let it marinate. Teamwork. And I put on my list teamwork across generations. Now see, that's where your girl is struggling. I know I'm cussing y'all out with love, but I'm really talking to myself too. The teamwork piece is where I know I need to work on, is what I know I need to work on. For lack of better terms, there are about 3 different generations in the workplace right now. And it may even be 4, depending on if anybody's old Mima is, still working. Shout out to your Mima if she is, but, get her home. Anyways, when it comes to teamwork, this is a soft skill because, it's everywhere. We can't do anything by ourselves. Like, shoot, even in just everyday life. Life is a teamwork sport, for sure. But when it comes to your professional world and your professional life, there's not much you're going to be able to do alone. And so you have to know what battles to pick on your work teams. You have to know who to go to, who has skills that you may not have, who's better at something that you want to learn, like who has a hard skill that you want to pick up. You need to be a good team member for them to want to teach you that. Are you someone that people can depend on as a team member? Do you have a hard skill that people want to learn? All of these things play into teamwork, and honestly, they play into the teamwork across generations, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. The across generations piece is what's the challenge, because I'll be real, my team, like, we're cool. I'm like, girl, what you doing this weekend? Okay, you went so-and-so. Okay, you went to brunch. Girl, send me a picture of your outfit. Like, it's all of that. But in previous jobs, I didn't care about your dog and you went to the lake and y'all went fishing and your grandkids came over, y'all baked cookies. I don't care. I really don't. But I had to still be a good team member because I needed these people in my work. So I won't harp on teamwork for too long, but it's an important soft skill because at the end of the day, we can't do anything by ourselves. And that's just that. The 4th one, this is another one of my favorites. Having a growth mindset. This is a soft skill because when you have a mindset that, hey, I will be a sponge, I'm here to learn, you remain teachable, and people trust you when it comes to new projects. They trust you to take on something that you might not have done before, but you're showing the motivation and the willpower to learn how to do it. You're willing to grow. You're willing to expand. You're watering yourself as a plant with more knowledge. You're going to events. You're showing up to meetings that you may not necessarily have to be at, but you're there because you want to learn and you want to grow. And this goes for personal and professional. I'm going to be real. One thing in my current role that my boss supports us in is personal development. And I love that because it allows me to always be ready to grow in whatever that is. And so if it's networking, first of all, I hate going to networking events, but that's another story. But because, she supports our personal development as it relates to our jobs, and she understands the power of networking, that's an area where she's supporting my growth. So if she sees an opportunity, she's letting me know. If I see an opportunity, she's willing to pay for it. So all of that plays a part into how I show up at work, and just being able to say, I don't like that, but I'm going to do it because I know it's going to help me grow. So having a growth mindset really just makes you a better person overall. And being teachable in the workplace is probably one of the best things that you can do, because again, people will trust you. That's a whole episode within itself, because that's partially how I got where I am today. Anyways, number 5, adaptability. Now, y'all may not like what I'm about to say about adaptability, because I already know people are going to be like, I'm not selling now, blah, 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 blah. But as my godmom always says, it's not selling out, it's buying in. Anyways, adaptability. What I want to say about being adaptable as a soft skill is that when you're adaptable, when you can come in, assess the work culture, and figure out how you can fit in while still being true to yourself, you become a master. Let me repeat that. Let me say it slow, actually. When you can come in, and I'm speaking specifically about work culture, when you can come into a workplace, assess the work culture, and figure out how you fit in while still being true to yourself, you have become a master at being adaptable, because workplace culture is one of the hardest places to adapt to, especially when the culture is not your culture, like when it looks different from you, when it talks different from you. But the joy is that once you're adaptable in that way, it's so much easier to be adaptable across the board. So for example, I'm adaptable. Well, with my current job, I don't have to do too much adapting because we're all Black women. But in previous roles, I have had to adapt to the work culture, and instead of griping about it and complaining about it, I didn't. What's the point in complaining when you can use it to your benefit and use it for your good? Second piece to adaptability is just how you show up at work. So for example, again, my current job, I can show up a little ratch some days. Like, I got that. I can do that. Other jobs, I couldn't be ratch. That was not going to fly. So how am I showing up? Like, am I putting on my nice voice? Am I wearing my work clothes, like my suit? Am I being suited and booted, or is this a jeans and t-shirt environment? Like, all of those things play into adaptability, and you want to be able to assess again how you have to adapt to certain work environments. I hope all of that makes sense. And sorry for my phone ringing. That was my godmom. Shout out to you, godmom, if you listen to this episode. Anyways, before I hop into some more personal examples, I want to recap my five top soft skills that I feel everyone needs to possess in order to be successful. Number 1, communication. Get it together. It's not given right now. Remember, get it together. Number 2, work ethic. Come on, gotta have some motivation, gotta be a little bit more reliable, gotta be on time. Number 3, teamwork. Y'all know I'm struggling right here, so keep me lifted, because that's a struggle. Number 4, having a growth mindset. If you don't do anything else, remain teachable. That is probably the most important thing you can do in a workplace. And then number 5, be adaptable. Know and understand what you're getting into and simply adapt to it. Don't feel like you have to sell your soul, buy into the culture, because at the end of the day, y'all, this is the biggest hack right here. You need to use this to benefit you. The job, that should be you using them as well. Just like they use you to get their job done, you need to be using them so you can get to the next level. And being adaptable, that's the biggest one. Now, I am a strong believer that your character and the use of soft skills will eventually and essentially be what carries you throughout your career. So when we start our careers, we're young, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Organizations and companies give us a chance, and they know that we may not know a whole bunch, and so they give us grace. But as you get older, if you don't hone in on these soft skills and really take them serious, you're going to find yourself without a job and without opportunities, because your reputation is always preceding you to the door. Like, I know y'all remember that quote from middle school that everybody always said, at least down in Alabama where I'm from. So make sure that you're understanding the importance of these soft skills. Like I said, and this ain't no knock to nobody, everybody can't get a brand deal. I'm sorry, some of us got to work. Okay, and while we at work, we might as well use some of these soft skills. I do want to say that the 5 soft skills I shared, they by no means are an exhaustive list. Like, there are a ton of soft skills. I mean, even if you just Google soft skills, it's so many out there. But again, these are just my top 5 that, one, I always share with others when I'm either mentoring or coaching someone, or when I'm even writing resumes. Like, I'm like, hey, do you have these 5 things down to the T? Because it's going to be important. All that to say, get you some soft skills, okay? Like I said, this was a little bit of a venting / a little big sister friendly cuss out with love, because I have been noticing that the kids just ain't exercising their soft skills. You know how your mama be talking through her teeth? That's me right now. Before we get out of here, though, I want to share a few personal examples of how I've used my soft skills and how I've strengthened them, because I think it's really important for me to always be transparent and share, parts of my adulting journey. Because as I always say, y'all not in this, we're not in this alone. Let me not even say y'all, we're not in this by ourselves. So you can learn something from me. I'm happy to share. So I have 2 main examples, and I think it's okay for me to name drop the employer. Look, I don't want no lawsuits from nobody. But the first one, I think most people know that I worked at NASA for some time, and I also worked for the state of Delaware for government. So I've been in government for a while. Well, I was in government for a while. But while in both of those jobs, I want to point out that one of my soft skills that I really had to strengthen was working with people who didn't look like me and were multi-generational, i.e. they were white and they were older. I don't like to say old, but they were older. And in both of these roles, my teamwork, my adaptability, and my growth mindset were all challenged. And when I say challenged, I mean at the highest level. So I'll start with teamwork. And I kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier, but when you're so used to being Miss Independent, Miss I got it, I'll figure it out. I told y'all we can't do anything by ourselves. Child, I was trying to do everything by myself. In both of these roles, I didn't want any help. I got it. Don't worry about it, Shirley. Don't worry about it, Bob. I'm going to do it. That wasn't going to work because in the world of communications, you're mostly responsible for a small part, and you have other people who are responsible for small parts, and all the small parts make up a big part. And that's what it was. I had to learn how to depend on my team members. And you know what that looked like for me? Finding a commonality. Something as simple as that. Finding one thing I had in common with the people who were so different from me. Now, did I miss the mark sometimes? Absolutely. But the times that I hit it, it was great. I would be going home like, I didn't know Bob liked Beyonce. What? Bob the engineer, he liked Beyonce. Like, that was a real thing. And it just kind of humanized who these people were. And I had to also realize, Jay, they're human just like you. And so they're probably struggling too. So how about you just give everybody some grace, including yourself? So for the teamwork piece, finding that commonality is what helped me. For the growth mindset, honestly, this just is a part of who I am. But for anyone who's struggling with that, like I was in some of these roles, although it's a part of who I am, it was really challenged in these roles because not that I wasn't teachable, I mean, I felt like I had it. Like, I felt like I knew what I knew. But what I ended up doing was people who did teach me things and who were willing to show me more, I asked to shadow them. I was like, oh, hey, I'm going to just use Bob for an example. Wow, I really enjoy how Bob put that strategy together. I would love to shadow him for a day in his department. And I was able to do that. I remained teachable. I remained a sponge. And honestly, those experiences early on helped me now, because not that I felt like I knew everything then, but now, even though I know way more, I'm always like, there's more to learn. Who can I learn from? Who can help me? Who can teach me something? And the best part about that, like I just said, is for my own good. So I don't give two rats behind that Bob may or may not like me outside of this job, but he has to work with me, right? And he's here with me because we're in this together. That wasn't the case, but the point is, you have to use the job to benefit you. And that's just that on that. And then the third one that I struggled with, that I've gotten a whole lot better at, is the adaptability. And like I was saying, a lot of people think of it as like a selling out. And I kind of had that mindset as well a few years ago. But it really is a buy-in, because it's for you. You're dating these jobs. Date one, move on to the next one. You're not marrying any company that you're joining. So bend a little bit, be flexible. They want to wear black and blue suits. Wear black and blue suits. Wear your red one on the weekend. They want to laugh and show pictures of their dog. Take a picture from Google somewhere and show them that is your dog. Okay, that's probably extreme. But the idea is just that, be adaptable. I know one of the funniest stories, I didn't take a picture of nobody's dog off Google, but one of the funniest stories was, I was working at a government agency, I won't say. Everybody was going to the lake to go fishing, right? And I couldn't relate, but I didn't want to be in the room just sitting there quiet. So I go, all right, what weekend y'all gonna teach me how to fish? Like, simple as that, like joining into the conversation, because clearly they like to fish. Who gonna teach me? Now, that didn't happen, but just knowing how to have a little fun with things that were once uncomfortable. Anyways, I can go on and on with all my stories about how I have managed my soft skills and continue to manage them. But the purpose, though, is just to get you all to see that no matter what you do in this life, and I know I've been talking a lot about the workplace. Most of us work a 9-to-5. If you TikTok famous, let me know, honey. But most of us work a 9-to-5, and we have to use our soft skills. And so I just wanted to remind you that practice them, really hone in on them, and know that they are for your own benefit. Don't be like some of the students I've had to interact with through a work program, and they're not teachable. They don't know how to communicate via email. It's just bad out here. I think the biggest thing, no one is teaching anyone how to practice their soft skills. And I really was thinking about this as I was planning the episode. I was trying to remember how I even learned. Like, I really don't know when I learned how to properly communicate via email. I just have always done it. But that's not fair to assume that everybody in the world will just always know how to do it, or they have always known how to do it, which is why we are here having an episode about it. I do plan to explore this a little bit more, because I want to dive deeper into like the basics of soft skills and how to even identify if you're struggling with them. I think that's a really good topic and a big topic to tackle one of these days. But for now, y'all know I'm going to give you some homework. I told you I was going to get me a little homework jingle going. I'm going to figure it out. It ain't ready yet, but I'm going to figure it out. This week's homework is real simple. It's just 3 things. I know I'm going to give y'all one, but it's just 3. The first one, I just want you to focus in on a soft skill this week. That's it. Whether you work a 9 to 5, whether you're a stay-at-home mom and you interact with only the mailman, whether you are an influencer, no matter what you're doing in this world, you have to use your soft skills. This week, hone in on one of them and just be intentional about exercising that soft skill. The second piece of homework, share this episode with someone who may be struggling in this area. Maybe it's a young person in your life. Maybe it's a coworker who be talking crazy to the boss. I don't know. But just share this episode with someone who you think could use the information. And then number 3, one of my favorites, leave me a voicemail at schooloflifepodcast.com letting me know where you're listening from and what soft skill you worked on this week. That's it. I feel like that's not too much homework, but y'all got this. Exercise one of your soft skills, share this episode, and then head to the website, which is linked in the show notes, to leave me a voicemail letting me know, 1, where you're listening from, and 2, what soft skill you are exercising. You never know, I may feature you on the show. All right, friends, that wraps up another episode of the School of Life podcast. Y'all know why this podcast exists. I hope you have learned something new or gained some type of new life insight, because that is why I run my soup coolers every week. Look, we are all in this together. Keep fighting, keep pushing, keep evolving. Talk to you soon.
Gotta pay these student loans. That's a doubt for the score doing the most. That's adulting, moving out of mom's house. That's adulting, but it's all gonna work out. That's adulting. I need a legal side hustle. That's adulting, 'cause these bills got me in trouble.